necessary that Nigeria must take. I like to think of my interactions as conversations, not interviews. And that's why I say asking questions is both an art and a science. Everyone says in Islam you are allowed to have 4 wives. Is it mandatory? The right question enables answers that educate, inform, clarify, and help you, the viewer, to better understand the issue before making up your mind.
Our goal is to reduce from 10 to 2 days the time it takes to register businesses in Nigeria.
Join me every week on this station Plus TV Africa and gain exclusive access to my conversations. I'm Angela Ajetumobi.
My name is Tunji Aziz, and here is my good old days story. I was born in that town of mountains, hills, rocks, and valleys, Okeo, the headquarters of Kajola local government area of Oyo State. Growing up was fun, or as I later came to know, fun and education. I woke up to the firm hands of my uncle Baba Shombade, a Babalawo at Lelade Olele Okeo, for our consultation with Ifa and taking of offerings to issue at the crossroads with the bell from the First Baptist Church Ishia, just across, rousing Christians to come and worship. I would later go to Iliolono, my paternal grandmother's house for Ileya celebration, or to Ileshobaloju Ogon, my grandfather's house. I remember going to church with my uncles, Boda Shola, Boda Bimpe, and may so rest in peace, Boda Raphael. I remember how we sang at Ikore after a huge bowl of rice and stew, which was a rare delicacy at that time. Dawo, dawo, dawo sile Oluwa. Dawo, dawo, dawo sile Oluwa. Owo iresi, koba resi lo. Dawo sile Oluwa. I enjoyed every bit of the annual Egungun festival. The fear created by Olugbojo, Shambeleke, Ogbongbon, Onpepe, ha! Just as I was infatuated by the gentle dance steps of Babalago and Egun Mokoko, I waited eagerly for Odunfa or Ifa festival. I loved the Egungun festival more because of the mesmerizing costumes and guttural voices of the Egungun and the surplus supply of Ole, Moin Moin. Yes, Ole was to Egungun festival what rice and chicken is to Christmas and ram meat is to Ileya or Idi Kabir. I remember how we sang the mockery of those playful Egungun Paka and how we teased them and ran when they chased us with their long whips. What am I driving out with my story? There was palpable love, understanding and tolerance between all the religions and their worshippers. Those good old days taught me that we could all live in peace, love and understanding. Those good old days shaped my life to accommodate and love and respect everyone, irrespective of their backgrounds. Today I marvel at the distrust, killings, segregation in the name of religion, and I ask, can we go back to the good old days when everyone worshipped God as He appeared to them? Can we be as tolerant as we were in the good old days? Our children deserve a better tomorrow. A future where what matters is our common humanity and not our religion, ethnicity, or class. We can make it happen. We can change the narrative by taking steps to build a better future for our children. Our children deserve a better and brighter tomorrow, not a reflection of the good old days. I am joining Shemore in this collective drive towards a greater tomorrow. Thank you.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. Right, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity. No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayiwa Mesale, and today Manny and I are going solo. I'm beginning to enjoy this our Monday solo workout.
I'm telling you.
I wish there was somewhere we could go to after the show. But you just disappear.
I will dull you live and direct.
How are you? How was
I'm
your weekend?
fine. My weekend was
lovely in
good.
bright pink.
Thank you. You know, they say bright colors are always popping for dark people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How was your weekend?
Weekend was alright. I stayed home throughout.
I did same. So Saturday, I don't have car. Saturday,
Yes.
Sunday,
You
I
were
was
just
chilling. Do you know how
chilling.
many calls? This one say, "Oh, we are at the hotel. Asha is happening. This one is happening. One birthday, one thing." I
Like,
say,
it's not
everybody
happening for me.
to your tent to Israel. I ain't going. You know the funny thing? I actually had fun.
You enjoyed it, exactly.
I had fun and I watched all the things I was supposed to catch up on Netflix. So I caught up on everything.
Yeah,
Catchable.
exactly. So for me, what I always tell people is they just see me sometimes and they think, okay, big personality, so definitely an extrovert. But I tell them I'm an extrovert with an introverted personality. So I'm always good at home. I'm a homebody.
Yeah, I actually love staying at home.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I love it too.
So I hate dress up. The only thing I really wish I could make was and we're hosting him on Friday.
that?
So my friend's brother, he went for a competition, the AMVCA fashion something. Fashion competition. It's the first of its kind. They were doing it like fashion for stars or something like that. And he won 5 million naira.
Wow.
An extra 1 million naira was given to him again by Pepsi for getting the best design for Pepsi. So
wow. Awesome.
I'm
How
proud
old
of
is
him.
he?
Obina. He's in his 30s, early 30s. I'm super proud of him.
That's nice. Well done. Congrats, Obina.
So if you see, he is an illustrator. Like, that's how he started off his career. So this is like, he wants to now properly launch as a designer, as a fashion designer. So his designs were amazing. I can't wait to have him on Friday.
Really? On Friday?
This is our own.
Yes, we're waiting for you.
I can't wait to have him on Friday. So that's the only thing I really wish I could have, but there was no car.
So and don't worry, we're going to have him here and you get all the juice.
I hear all the juice. Okay. Yes. Manny, when are you buying your 100 million naira form again?
Well, now that everybody's buying, I think I'm just going to buy mine as well.
No, but the good thing about us as women, we don't get to pay 100 million. So I think I will declare very soon. Because it seems like everybody's declaring for presidency. And that's the conversation we're having today, right? We're asking why. Yeah. And here's what we found as today's quote. Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. This is from Abraham Lincoln. Now, despite the fast economic decline, the 2023 elections remain fast approaching, and we are beginning to witness so many people declaring to run. Tinubu, Amechi, Governor Wike, what's it called? What's the Labour guy? Oshomole, then the other guy.
Even the pastor.
Chris Ngige, Tunde Bakare.
Yeah.
The list is endless, right? So today we have David Hundeyin, and is here to discuss 2023 presidency declaration, the fight for the seat of power. But first, let's take a break to see what we found in the news.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. By no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
You are still watching Ways Now. National Women's Checkup Day on the second Monday in May each year focuses on the importance of regular routine visits for women. As part of National Women's Health Week, the observance provides ways to help women take steps to maintain better health. Routine health checkups provide an opportunity to catch up problems before they become unmanageable. Now, speaking with your physician about risk factors, early signs and symptoms and concerns can help to alleviate minor daily issues and identify issues to watch. Now, additionally, your physician can recommend screening and other baseline tests that can be used for comparison at a later time. Yearly Well Woman visits are important and also should include discussions of your health, habits, family history, setting health goals, and scheduling or receiving screenings or necessary exams. Now, screening would include blood pressure, cholesterol, cervical cancer, breast cancer. The list is endless, right? Just check and continue to screen yourself as a woman, because different things happen to different women at different times. So it is always important for us to have that health check. Last week I was feeling some pain in my chest, like inside my chest. I was saying that I need to go to the hospital.
Have you gone?
I haven't.
Ooh.
I'm horrible. I hate hospitals.
See, maybe you're still very young, so.
Well, I'll be 40 soon, so.
Yeah, but once you cross that
40, you can't joke with it, right?
You can't even joke with it. So me, I don't joke with all these things anymore.
So
once I just feel one thing, I'm off
to the doctor.
We need to know.
Yeah, we just need to know.
Yeah.
I think for the good part of the times I've done different kinds of screening, my health result always comes back clean. So maybe that's why when I feel minor things, I don't really stress, but I think I should pay attention.
Yeah, after 40, you're required to do the yearly checkup, comprehensive. So I have been able to do it on 2 occasions now, and I'm always clean.
So you're trying to tell us you're 42 now?
I'm not trying to tell you anything.
Oh, you can pass on my younger sister, you know.
Well, so I get that a lot. They still call me baby lawyer in many places, so they think I'm, you know, very young.
It's good now. You are young, auntie. Well, it's only in Nigeria that we carry age for head, though.
Well,
I'm very, even if I'm 60, I'm very young.
Well,
please.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm so young.
Yeah. So what did you find for us in the news?
Okay, Lagos AG leads prosecution as hearing in the BRT murder trial begins. So the Attorney General of Lagos State, Moyo Shere Onigbanjo.
Moyo Shere.
Oh my God.
Moyo Shere. Moyo Sore, I think.
Moyo Shere Onigbanjo, SAN, is leading the prosecution by the state in the trial over the rape and murder of 22-years-old Bamishe Ayanwola on a BRT vehicle which occurred in late February. The state government is prosecuting the bus driver, Andrew Nice Ominikorun, for the offenses to which he pleaded not guilty during his arraignment in March. The case is before Justice Sherifat So-Naike at the High Court building, Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos Island. Mr. Onigbanjo, who is also the Commissioner for Justice, appeared with the Director of Public Prosecution, Jide Martins, and the lead counsel for the Aganwola family, Barrister Adelina Ogunlana, had put in a fiat to prosecute the case on its behalf. But this application was turned down by the state government. So Barrister Ogunlana, in the letter to Lagos State AG, dated May 4th, had expressed his wish for a more independent body to conduct the prosecution. According to him, the Lagos State Agency and officials are also involved in the matters and may not be reasonably expected to act as the prosecutor against themselves. The family is also concerned that the state government included in the charge against Andrew Nice another rape incident separate from Bamishe's, a situation they believe may complicate their case. So, just so you understand what I just read, Uwa, a fiat is a legally binding command, you know, order, decree, decision entered into court record, and it's normally issued by the state, the court, or the Attorney General of the state. So he has the right to approve or reject any fiat that is brought before him. So this is when he gives his, he delegates his prosecutory powers to a private legal practitioner. And in this case, this is what this Barrister Ogunlana just asked for, a fiat. And I think he should have actually granted it because the state agency is involved in this matter, and really, like they said, they cannot prosecute themselves in the matter. So I think this is not a good one. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but in my case, I don't see it working well, especially since they have already included another rape charge to this. So it might not work out well. I don't know, but I'm not liking it. I don't like it.
We shall find justice, right?
That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm just trying to sound like a layman.
I'm not the court, I'm not the judge, but in my own opinion, I would have granted this if I were the AG. I would have, you know. But we'll find out, like you said.
Presidential ambition. Court declines Emefiele's request to restrain INEC. This is the Attorney General of the Federation. As Federal High Court in Abuja has declined the request of the CBN Governor, Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele, to restrain the Independent National Electoral Commission and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, from preventing him from pursuing his presidential ambition. Emefiele on Monday, through his lawyer, Mike Ozekome, SAN told the court in Abuja that he can run for the post of the president without vacating his position as the CBN governor. Ozekome told the court that Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act, as amended 2022, does not affect Emefiele being a public servant and not a political appointee. The court, in its ruling, however, summoned INEC and the AGF to appear before it on May 12 to show case on why status quo antebellum, I don't know how to pronounce this thing, should not be granted to the CBN governor. I want to ask a question. A CBN governor, is he not appointed by the president? So why are they saying that he's a public servant all of a sudden and not a political appointee? He is appointed by the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yes, he is.
And we know that story that happened when we took this story when they were going back and forth, how they went to go and rule one case inside one village in one place like that. When we said that was it legal for them to have done that and all of that. But you see, this is what we're talking about. Because again, somebody like an Emefiele running for presidency, I will leave it to our guests because me, I won't say what is on my mind because
exactly.
a OCBN governor running this is where the money is, and we know that politics in Nigeria is a game of money. But you know what? Let me leave it to our guests. He'll be the one to answer. I won't say a word. We'll come back from the break. We'll discuss. Stay with us.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408 or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God.
The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on Plus TV Africa, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, referencing Toyin Falola's recent publication on the Tribune, as has been the tradition in the country's nascent democracy, many old and new political aspirants are jostling to join a race whose history of rarely ever producing a credible winner should ordinarily deter prospective interest. Yet, as you might already know, the umpire promises of a free, fair, and credible process is merely a claim to such cardinal ideas that have eluded all former occupants of Nigeria's golden seat of power. Hence, it is reasonable to rule out the ideas as the sentiment guiding this process of selecting a new leader, unless you believe a bunch of enthusiastic aspirants queuing to cough up tens of millions of naira rather, and truly motivated by a desire to serve the motherland. Now, if you are not so easily swayed, then your focus will be on what drives this widespread desire to run for president and why all of a sudden everyone thinks that they have what it takes to lead Nigeria. What are they really running for? We're asking that question. Please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at Wayshow Africa 1 with the hashtag Wayshow. Manny, you just have to tell me when you are buying your form. Because I want to bring in our guests in a minute.
My God.
When are you buying your form now? Because it seems like everybody...
I think there's still time.
Is it a hunger for service to serve Nigeria, or this is just depicting the true state of Nigeria, like our reality right, that the only thing that is important in this country is that just make sure you get power by all means, because that is the reality. Because I don't understand why, you know, we talked about the cost of this form. Somebody was saying that, no, it's to weed off what? Weed off what? Look at all the people that are declaring. You know, everybody is just coughing out 100 million as if it is, it is 10 naira.
And you know, the truth is, even if it was 500 million, these people will still bring the money out.
Are you kidding me? Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just wondering, like, why is there so much tussle, you know, with, especially a particular party? Like, they have, like, I don't even know, I've stopped counting now. There are so many candidates that have paid that 100 million naira to I mean, aspire to become the president of Nigeria. Why?
You know, I don't know, Uwa, but I just feel like it's actually very saddening.
It's
because
sad.
These people are not coming here to serve. They are not coming here to help Nigeria. And at this point in time, we actually need leaders who understand our problems, because we have very peculiar problems in Nigeria. So we need leaders who understand, who are resolute on solving our problems, you know, who understand what it is, what true federalism actually is. You know, so not leaders who are coming here just to play games and make money. It's for them, it's about stomach infrastructure.
Because from what we can see, you know, from this just clearly tells me that you don't even care about Nigerians.
No.
All you care about is, how do I get that seat?
Stomach infrastructure. That's what I think.
David Udeng is a writer, travel addict, journalist, majoring in politics, tech, and finance. His work spans a number of international print and broadcast platforms, including the Africa Report, CNN Africa, Channels Television Business Day, Plus TV Africa, and Yahoo Finance. He started his career in business consulting and marketing before switching into writing. He was a founding writer on The Other News, Nigeria's first primetime political satire TV with nearly 2 million weekly viewers. And he's joined us live from the UK. Thank you so much, David, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
I'm not going to say a word, but first of all, I want to ask you a question. David, do you have your form now? Have you purchased your form of 100 million naira? Because it seems like everybody's running for president.
I'm flattered that you seem to think that I look like someone who has 100 million naira, so thanks for that. But yeah.
But David, it's not a problem getting 100 million naira. You, of all people, should know that if you want to buy that form, trust me, the supporters, how did they put it now? Because now they come and say that it is the people. My people said, and they bought the form for me. Your village will have money, David. You can't be too sure.
Yeah, there's probably some Badagry pressure group or something.
A pressure group. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. But David, this conversation is actually disheartening because for me, when I started seeing people coming out to declare, oh, I want to be president, at first I was saying that is, you know, okay, let's see how it goes. But now it's almost becoming like a joke to me, right? Because, I mean, there's one imam somewhere in Ibadan saying that God told him he wants to be a president. Different people are just coming out. First of all, do we really understand that seat of presidency in Nigeria, what it holds, right? Or have we lost what the presidential seat should be? Have we lost that?
So I am not sure that there's ever been a time when the seat of the presidency was ever respected for what it's supposed to be. That is a position of service, right? I think going back to the unfortunate entry of the military into frontline politics in Nigeria, the impression has been created that government exists, that the country exists at the mercy of government. So government is like a ruler as against a leader.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. So you don't lead, you rule, right? And the difference between a ruler and a leader is that a ruler is not accountable
to anybody,
to those that he rules, whereas the leader is accountable to the led. So the ruler is there to be an extractive entity, to extract rent from the population, while the leader is there to create value for the population. So I think there's always been that unfortunate mindset that government in Nigeria is where you go to when you want to make a large amount of money in a short space of time. Basically, that's the primary purpose of people going into government. That's what it is. They're looking to enrich themselves, financially in huge ways in a very short period of time, because the powers that the Nigerian government has given to itself makes it such that it's possible using those powers to distort the economy and to illegally enrich yourself in very impressive ways in very short periods of time, in ways that most Nigerians are not even aware of. So I think now that we're going toward 2023, we're seeing this is sort of like the most pointed it has ever been.
Yeah.
Because I think up until this point, there has always been even just that little bit of a veneer. People still felt the need to at least pretend that they had something that they wanted to do in that office. But after 7 years of, he who shall not be named, I think we've just got to the point where nothing really matters anymore. Nobody really feels the need to pretend anymore, because it seems as if Oga at the top has been able to get away with everything he has been able to get away with for 7 years and nothing happened. The people under him, people like the Attorney General, Abubakar Malami, people like the former so-called EFCC chair, Ibrahim Magu, people like the CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, these people have a litany of atrocities under their names and nothing has happened. I mean, you have the CBN governor going to court to institute a lawsuit that the judge should rule that the part of the CBN Act that forbids CBN governors from taking part in public service somehow does not apply to him, because he's not a political appointee, quote unquote. Somebody who was appointed by President Goodluck Jonathan and whose tenure was renewed by President Muhammadu Buhari somehow is not a political appointee.
All of a sudden, he's not.
And it's very tempting to go into a rant about Godwin Emefiele, but the thing is, this is so much bigger than Godwin Emefiele.
Sure.
Godwin Emefiele is a symptom of this problem. Correct. The problem that nobody even feels the need to pretend that holding political office within the Nigerian government exists for any purpose other than self-aggrandizement, self-enrichment, and careerism. Nobody even feels the need to pretend anymore. Yeah. We got to that point where you have a frontline presidential aspirant saying that it's his turn. That he feels like it's his time, it's his turn. Like he has waited for this all his life. Like, who told you this is about you? But that's where we are at this point in time, where it's like, oh yeah, there are 180 million people out there, but they're not important, whatever. This is really about me and my personal ambition. And that ambition is not for anything productive, it's not for anything constructive, it's just to hold this power and to be in office. To hold power without responsibility, to be in office without being in charge. And that's, I think, is the sort of the Nigerian dream, if you like, of the political class in this country. This has always been the case, but I think over the past 7 years, the particular brand of I don't careism, which has been instituted under Muhammadu Buhari, has made it such that this has permeated the entire system now, and nobody feels the need to even pretend. It's right there in your face now. So in some ways, that's a terrible thing. In some ways, that's also a good thing, because I think now, those who maybe lacked some political consciousness before are going to be sort of forced to acknowledge their own reality now, to acknowledge the reality of the country that they live in now. And possibly that will make them become more politically active at this point, because I feel as if right now, if a Nigerian citizen who is not politically aware or politically active is not a serious human being, as far as I'm concerned at this point.
Wow.
David, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so David, right now we're focused only on the presidency, this fight for the seat, the big seat. But, in a democracy, shouldn't we start at the grassroots, like the local chairman, the state governors and all that? Why are we focused on the presidency only?
I think this is a symptom of the sort of pseudo-federalism that we practice in Nigeria, where we claim to be a federation, but what we actually are is a unitary system where
everything happens at the center.
most of the power and the money is concentrated in Abuja. So, and I've said this several times that I believe that the majority of the problems in politics and in governance that we face in Nigeria stem from that basic imbalance. There's too much money and power concentrated in Abuja, and where there is so much money and power belonging to 180 million plus people concentrated in one small place like Abuja, what inevitably happens, whether in Nigeria or anywhere in the world, what will inevitably happen is that people will start jostling with themselves, legally or illegally, ethically or unethically, to get a slice of that pie, right? Everybody's going to be competing for who gets to, date the prom queen, so to speak. Nobody's focusing on how to grow the pie in their own states or in their own locales, because there is no pie there. The entirety of the pie is in Abuja, so nobody's worried about baking a bigger pie around the country. Everybody's just focused on how to get a share of the pie that is in Abuja. And that is where the majority of the problem originates from. That is how come the gubernatorial elections and the local government elections are nowhere near as important as the presidential elections, because it's who becomes president that essentially gets to determine who becomes, financially successful over the next 4 years, who gets government contracts, whose business gets to survive based on, policy decisions. Because there's too much power concentrated in Abuja. Somebody can wake up in Abuja one morning and with the stroke of his pen can, render an entire industry hamstrung. So, and we saw an example of this over the past 4 years when, the president woke up on one side of his bed one morning and said, all southern borders are closed. For some cockamamie reason that was never really that nobody was ever really able to communicate. That to check smuggling or to encourage local.
We never saw the effect of that closure, actually.
Exactly. All it did was it drove consumer prices up. It fed inflation. It made life more difficult for us. It made our neighbors angry at us. Our trading partners angry at us. It reduced the share of trade we have within the West African region. We got absolutely nothing positive out of it. And then at the end of the day, he woke up another morning and then reopened the borders. Like, that's what happens when you have too much power concentrated in the center. One man should not be able to have the power to take that kind of unilateral action. That's the problem. And where one man in Abuja has that power, that's where everybody's going to be fighting over who gets to be that one man. So I think if this power can be decentralized as it's supposed to be, if the power to determine which port or which border is open is left to the states or the regions as they
where they control it,
Exactly. Then nobody's going to care about who is sitting down in Aso Rock, because what affects people's lives most immediately is closer to them. And incidentally, this is how Nigeria used to be run, right? It wasn't until what I consider to be the most unfortunate coup in the country's election, the January 15 coup of 1966, when a group of bright sparks in the military convinced themselves that they were smarter than everybody else, and then they said that they are abrogating the federation and we are now a unitary system, and then they cancelled the regions and divided everybody into states, and then concentrated all the power at the center, and then that's where the problem started. And we've not woken up from this nightmare since then. So I think if there is a way to amend the constitution and make it such that power is diffused to states and or regions, I think that's where the salvation for Nigeria, if such a thing is possible, will come from.
Okay, so I like where the conversation is going. I just want us, because you touched on it a bit, where you talked about solution, right? Because in itself, I think this is supposed to be like a wake-up call for us to understand and see the problem. The question is, are we really seeing that there's a problem? Because some people will not find this a problem. We were just different. We just think differently. That's why we'll sit down and say, but really, why is everybody purchasing a form? Because there have been several allegations, right, that it's possible that they are using that as a bait, so that eventually, when they now pick the eventual flag bearer, they would all have a stake in the government, right? If the person eventually emerges as president. These are all speculations, but is there any sense of truth in it? Because I wouldn't know why I would take 100 million and just go and put it somewhere where I'm not sure whether that money is going to come back to me. Remember that these funds, David, they are non-refundable, right? So are there realities of in those allegations? Are there some level of truth in it that says it's possible that these people are just buying their space in the seat of the next government? Because it is too much as far as I'm concerned, and we have never had it this bad. Or is it that the person at the helms of affair, because I think you touched on it, a bit, is it that the person at the helms of affair, if people look and say, if this man can be president, me safe, I can be president, because because that's how I am trying to just wrap my head to understand why this is happening and why is it this, because we've not had it this bad.
So based on my understanding of the situation, of all the people who have come out to say that they've found 100 million naira from somewhere to pay for basically what is a lottery ticket, right? The number of people who have actually raised that money, whether through their own private efforts or who people have got the form for them or whatever, they are not that many. So a lot of the people who are coming out and announcing and signing the forms and the 100 million naira materialized out of nowhere, there is actually a sophisticated money laundering operation going on, and the object of the operation is such that the party can fund its campaign next year, right? So if you have 25 people bringing 100 million naira each, that's 2.5 billion naira to put into a campaign fund. That's what it's really about. So there are maybe 3, 4, or 5 actual front-running contestants who actually have any kind of jazz, and then you have a whole bunch of clowns who are being used as fronts. These people, I am 99% sure, have never laid eyes on 100 million naira before, much less have 100 million naira to spare for what is essentially a giant lottery ticket. So I'm very confident about that. So this is essentially, this is the sort of gimmickry that drives Nigerian electioneering and Nigerian politics, where you are trying to raise funds for an electoral campaign, right? For a campaign season, and we know how expensive campaigning is in Nigeria. So instead of doing things the way they were done before, where it was kind of obvious that somebody dips his hand into a state coffer and sponsors a political party, now you're being a bit cute about it. You're doing it a bit differently so that you can get around. Maybe I'm not sure whether it's fear of the EFCC. I don't think they're especially afraid of the EFCC, but for whatever reason, they decided that this is how they're going to play it. So I get 20 people who know that they don't have a chance in hell of coming anywhere near that seat, and then I get them to front, and then I put 100 million naira behind each of them. Obviously, this money doesn't belong to them, and then they buy a form. They get to have their name up in lights for a while, and then the money obviously is going to the party. So what everybody should be focused on isn't how many people are paying 100 million naira, or where do they get the money from. What people should be focusing on is, what is the party doing with that money? Where is that money going? There's always a paper trail.
Absolutely.
So that's what people should be more concerned about. So this is political money laundering in Nigeria.
You know what? Let's take a break. When we come back from the break, we'll continue the conversation and take your comments. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, thanks for staying with us. If you just tuned in, we're discussing 2023 presidency declarations, the fight for the seat of power with David Hundeyin. Please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at Wayshow Africa 1 with the hashtag Wayshow. David, so I asked you a two-part question. So you said, from what you're saying is that you just see political money laundering going on. But there is the second part where I said that, is it possible that people have looked at themselves and say, if a President Buhari can be president, then I also can be president? Because I am seeing a lot of people that are ministers that have not even accomplished nada, right? Like the ministerial role that you were even given, I can't even say, okay, I can point to a few things that you have done successfully, and you think it is okay for you to say you want to declare to run for a presidency. Are you not just making a mockery out of that, proper, perhaps, the person that has given them the opportunity to make a mockery of that seat is the person currently at the seat of power. Do you agree with that?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that, well, I mean, the truth is that I don't think this is a controversial comment to make, that in terms of performance, history will record Muhammadu Buhari as by far and away the worst ever occupant of Aso Rock in Nigeria's history, thus far. Hopefully forever. Hopefully there won't be someone worse that will break this record. And this isn't an opinion. There is actual empirical data supporting this. He's the only head of state that has led Nigeria into an economic recession on 3 different occasions. In fact, as I recall, Nigeria has gone into recession, I think 4 times in its entire history, and 3 of those 4 times were under him. So I think that says it all on its own, right?
But would you blame, wait, hold on, David. Do you think you want to blame all of that on the president, given that under his tenure was when the world was struck with COVID? Everybody knows how bad it affected the economies of the world globally. It wasn't a Nigerian thing. You think there should have been something that would have been done a lot different?
The first recession he brought in the second coming, which was in 2016, COVID wasn't a thing then. There was no global financial downturn in 2016. In fact, the world was awash with money in 2016. He somehow engineered hunger out of plenitude. Only he understands how he did that. He somehow went to an ocean and people died of thirst. Only he understands how he manufactured the recession in 2016. Sometimes I still think about it and it just blows my mind. There was no reason for there to be a recession in 2016. And then the recession in 2020, which everybody likes to blame on COVID-19. Well, it wasn't COVID-19 per se that sparked the recession. It was the response to COVID-19. And as people like me had said several times to the point of irritation, our entire response strategy, which was basically to photocopy what was being done in Western Europe and North America, was doomed from day one because we are not Western Europe or North America. We have a completely different type of economy. Our response should have been completely different. Here you had a disease which statistically is less than half as deadly as malaria. And you can check the data on this. Malaria kills at least twice as more Nigerians every year as COVID-19 theoretically could have killed. So, and nobody was shutting down the economy because of malaria. So what was that huge, giant overreaction that they did in 2020 and what did it achieve? So, and again, when this thing was done, was there a policy review at the end of it all to ask, okay, this thing that we did, what was the outcome? Was this a good idea? Did it work? And it was the same thing with the border closure. You just do something and then nobody goes back afterward to review it, to ask, did it work? So ultimately the buck stops on his table. He was the one who authorized these decisions. And it was his government that did these things. They didn't have to. It was voluntary. So yes, it's his fault. So yes, COVID-19 or no COVID-19, that was 110% his fault. That was Muhammadu Buhari's doing. And that's his legacy.
Okay, so taking it away from Buhari, do you think that the regional system will be better than what we have presently? Absolutely.
Absolutely. I don't just think it will be better. I think there's actual history showing that it was better. And I'll give you a very practical example of this. So my dad got to go to primary and secondary school because of the free education program in the Southwest when Obafemi Awolowo was the prime minister of the Western region at the time. If not for that program, my dad would have been his dad was a huge landholder, a rich man by village standards in Badagry. So my dad would have just been some, comfortable palm wine tapper or something, and we would never have had the life that he had. I'll never have the life that I had. It was education that took us out of Badagry. And that education was a direct result of a regional policy. It wasn't every region in Nigeria that had that policy. It was the Western region that had access, and the leaders of the Western region, fortunately, were forward-thinking enough to understand that education and research and development were the keys to the economy of tomorrow, which is how come till now, the southwestern region of Nigeria is by far and away the most prosperous area of Nigeria. It's not a coincidence. So that is what regional governance has achieved before in Nigeria. So I don't think it's a controversial comment to make that regional governance has succeeded before, and it will definitely be better than this unitary mess.
But so let me do a follow up with what Manny has asked. Right. So if we're saying regional leadership will work better for us, do you see any of these current people coming out to say that they have intentions to become president? Do you see them actually putting together a document that takes us back into that? Because it seems like nobody wants to change the status quo because everybody's benefiting, from the system, right? Because it is crazy. It's like you can't have so much power concentrated on one human being. They say power corrupts and absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. This is what we're seeing playing out currently in Nigeria, because everybody you want to do anything, just go to Abuja, right? I've heard this several times that don't worry, you want to be a billionaire, just go to Abuja. By the time you get there, meet 2-3 people, you go blow. True. And people have done it. It is almost like what's it called? A principle now. Just say if you want to blow, just go to Abuja, right? This is the principle. So do you see all these people coming out to say they are fighting for this seat of power? Do you see any of them saying that, I think I want to take Nigeria back to a place where it is a healthier system and things would actually begin to work?
Absolutely not. I don't think if you have any genuine intentions to better the lives of Nigerians, that you are going to be spending 100 million naira on a form, anyway, on a lottery ticket, as I call it. Because bear in mind that you're not buying the nomination, you are buying a form to enter for the nomination. So you're basically you're spending 100 million naira on a lottery ticket, right? It's not even a sure thing. So if you are gambling 100 million naira on that electoral process, I don't believe that you are doing that because you have genuine intentions. I think either you are being used as a front, or if you're actually spending that money, it's because you are buying your way into the next government. I think that's what you're doing. Or if you actually get that nomination, you're looking for a return on your investment, right? Okay. I don't believe that in an actual democracy, by nature, the dictionary definition of democracy, which is the government of the people, for the people, by the people. A democracy, so the leaders in the democracy are supposed to be a representation of the people, right? So when you have a country where I think 92% of the country lives under 60,000 naira a month, and then the leadership is buying lottery tickets to contest for elections for 100 million naira. So how is that a reflection of the people? It's not. So that's not
because the people cannot afford that.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's not a democracy by nature. If 99% of the population of Nigeria is excluded from having any kind of realistic ability to take part in this electoral process, then it's not a democracy. It's feudalism, basically. It's feudalism with extra steps, as I like to call it. Just because you have elections doesn't mean that you are running a democracy. The Chinese Communist Party also runs elections in-house. No one is going to accuse them of being democratic, right? So just because we have elections doesn't mean we're running a democracy. So if you have a system of government where the vast majority of people, including you and I having this conversation, are not represented in there is no way you and I are going to find 100 million naira from where to go buy a lottery ticket.
I might just have a pressure group somewhere, David. I'm not too sure about that. But I'm a woman, so I wouldn't pay 100 million. Let me take some comments because somebody's accusing you of so many things here. Say, why are we castigating people for coming out to contest for elections? Are we not practicing democracy? Democracy is the freedom to be voted for and vote for any candidate of your choice. He said you bring guests who make allegations against people without evidence to support their allegations. And he says ignorance is a disease. He does not know that maybe he does not know that the recession started in 2014 before Buhari took over 30 states, could not pay salaries. Oil price dropped from $100 per barrel to $15, and our foreign reserves were at $27 billion, which cannot fund import we couldn't fund import for 3 months. Sule from Bauchi, Sule is a Buhari's fan. So do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I would be shocked if Sule from Bauchi said anything else, because the 80% of what he said was completely false, by the way. I get the impression he doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, when he says the recession started in 2014, he obviously doesn't know what a recession is. So, like, automatically, that just makes it very difficult to take anything he has to say serious. This person clearly has no clue what he's talking about. And all his data sets were all wrong. So I'd advise Sule to please consult Google before making comments. Yeah.
Okay, good evening, my dear beautiful sisters. What are you saying? #ways concerning the 2023 presidential election and the seat of power. My own take and judgment is that these people are wicked and heartless. So these people have all this money and the problems in Nigeria are there unsolved. Exactly. If all these people gather all the 100 million and invest it well, the problems in Nigeria will be history. 100 million naira is ridiculous to be spent on a form alone. Sister Uwa and Sister Mani Money, you both hit the nail on the head. These people are interested in the seat of power and not the welfare of Nigerians and nothing more. They are pretending and deceiving us that they will deliver, and it is all lies from the pit of hell. If I have my way, I will not vote next year because I am tired of the whole system. God help us all. My name is Daniel Ilo, Ways regular fan. Daniel, please don't say that. Please. We still need to go out and do our bit.
So we have to do our bit. But David, where is the way forward in all of this? Because I know that it might look a bit messy, but there's still a bit of hope in all these things that is happening. So would that make us to actually shift our attention to start to focus on, probably people that maybe have some level of track record that we can hold on to say, I think, let me go with this person. Would this help? Because as they are coming out in their bunch, there should be some ray of hope in all of this for us.
Yeah, I mean, for example, I feel like a constructive way that we can actually help do something positive is by focusing attention on people who have actually expressed some kind of constructive policy position. I feel like a recurring feature of Nigerian electoral cycles is that there is a lot of attention that is paid to the people that I like to call the professional clowns, the people whose job is to entertain you or to shock you or to just generally suck attention away from actual issues, right? So I'm without mentioning names, so it doesn't come across like I'm endorsing a particular candidate. I'm sure we know one or two candidates who have been in the news exclusively because of policy positions that they have articulated. Yeah. I feel like those are the people we should be paying attention to, not the people who are going to court because I'm a sitting CBN governor, but I also want to contest for president. Or I feel like it's my turn and I said the youth should wait first, even though my age is, nobody knows exactly how old I am. I feel like we pay those people too much attention. I feel as if the media and those who have some sway within the social media space consciously make the decision to pay attention to actual policy, the policy positions, people who have constructive ideas and can communicate those ideas. I feel like if you pay attention to those people, then the mass of Nigerians who actually derive a lot of their opinions from what they see in the media will be led to also start paying attention to the people who are actually worth listening to. There are a couple of people who are actually worth listening to in this electoral cycle, but obviously I promised that I wasn't going to come out and endorse anybody, so I obviously we're all smart enough to know who has some substance.
But David, you have to leave us with something. It's not endorsement. I mean, we are in a dire situation here in Nigeria.
You can help the viewers.
Someone says, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So if these politicians have $1 million naira for a form, where is the human heart or feelings? It's supposed to be 100 million or feelings to help her citizens having an enabling environment. All the politicians should go to bed and allow youth empowerment. Ade from UK. Thank you so much, Ade. But David, we are running out of time. We have like 2 minutes. So you're not endorsing. You are just helping to guide. Because, again, the way you have said it, people actually... Somebody sent me a message when I put up your picture on my status that first of all, David is going to be on the show, I must watch. Somebody now says, let me read the second message I got. This one actually chuckled. He said, ha ha ha, this crazy boy, the fear of David is the beginning of wisdom. That's what somebody said about you. You know, that, you know, because you are not just, you investigate, you do a lot of research before you bring out some of the write-ups that you do on your paper, right? So you are not going to just be silent. You can't, and this is the problem, because again, pastors will tell you, no, they don't want to endorse, and this is why it has gotten us to where we are. We need to start shouting out to say, you know what, these are the candidates we should look out for. If they fail us, right, maybe years down the line they fail us, we'll come back and say.
The problem with mentioning names on air, doing the kind of job that I do, is that the first thing that is going to follow that is, oh, so and so candidate has paid you to do this and that. I'd just rather, sidestep all that drama. I believe that people are smart enough to know the people who actually have some substance, right? Those people have already been in the news. We know who these people are. And I don't think anybody needs David Hundeyin. I'm not that smart, right? I don't think anybody needs me to tell them who has substance and who does. I feel people are smart enough to have seen these things for themselves. So let's just pay attention to the people who have substance and just try as much as possible to ignore the clowns, because they feed on publicity, they feed on airtime, they feed on column inches and media space. I feel like if those guys are squeezed out and we just focus more on the people who have articulated something, who have said something constructive, who have put forward an idea or ideas, then I feel like that's moving our conversation forward.
All right, so nice interview, but please, he needs to be corrected. The recession in 2016 was caused mainly by the oil price tanking that year. The world was not awash with cash, as she claims, as many countries were affected. Nigeria being an oil-dependent country, Nigeria was never going to be spared. He's a critic, and so I'm not surprised, but the facts should be stated correctly. So I think everybody's still coming back to you on this recession matter.
Yeah, once again, I feel like people should inform themselves before repeating things that they heard in the beer parlor. Right? That wasn't the first time that oil prices have fallen significantly. Oil prices also fell significantly in 2007, going into 2008. Why didn't Nigeria go into a recession then? So I feel like people should inform themselves before making these comments which they heard from people who are sort of formulating content on behalf of political operators. So please inform yourself before accusing me of not being informed, because trust me, the first thing I do is inform myself before offering an opinion.
So let me promise our viewers, I will go and read up, because I'm not so clear on the recession matter. If David is not correct, I'll come back to tell you guys tomorrow, but we've run out of time. Thank you so much, David, for your time. We hope to bring you back again, because whether you like it or not, you will soon start to give us names to look out for in this 2023 presidency. Yeah. Thank you so much, David. We had a fantastic conversation. Thank you, Manny. We had a fantastic conversation. Yeah. I'll go and do the research. I'm not an economist, so I will find out what happened with the recession, because everybody is just typing, sending messages from left and right and center. So before we go, ensure you follow us on Instagram at Wayshow Africa. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our conversations and engagements on social media, like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Now, if you missed today's quote, here it is again. Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, this is very powerful. Give him power. This is from Abraham Lincoln. Now, I'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Vicky November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Stay in bed 20. What are you going to be in a year? You're going to be 21. Anybody can grow old.
You can say that again.
The point is to seek possibility by what we get. We make a life.
By what we give. Let the show begin.
Growing old, to fear or not to fear? How do people view old age? Why do we glorify youthfulness today? I'm here with my big aunties today, Auntie Adesua, Rosie, Fumi, to share perspectives on it. I, Chisom, I'm not afraid of old age. Maybe because I'm still young. Don't deceive yourself, girl. This is TW Conversations. We'll be back to talk about this after the break.
Before you enter the real world, there's some words of wisdom that I'd like to share with you. We don't stop playing because we're old. We get old because we stop playing. Make sense? There's a huge difference between growing old and growing up. I could stay in bed for a year. I'm 81, so I'll be 82. You can stay in bed. You'll be 20. What are you going to be in a year? You're going to be 21. Anybody can grow old. The trick is to seek possibility and growth and use that time and love that time. We elderly people, we don't regret what we did. We regret what we didn't do. The only people who fear death are those who have regrets. And remember, we make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give.
Yes, welcome back. That video kind of sets the tone, doesn't it? I mean, I saw that video on WhatsApp, and a lot of you have seen it before, but some perspectives that were raised there got me thinking, you know. Hattie is the name of that woman, and she says growing old is a function of what, I mean, we saw it just now, and what hit you when you saw it for me? I just wonder.
She said, we don't, we grow old because we stop playing. We don't stop playing because we're old.
So wait, let's first establish who are the old ones here. Okay, I'm old.
I'm old.
But so is Chisom. Chisom is 21 years old. Therefore, she's old, isn't it? No. I want to remain this age. Well, okay. This is one of the things that old age does to you. You have trousers under this, and so what's wrong with that? No, when you get old, you don't care. These shoes are they're a little too high for me. I want to be able to feel relaxed.
It matches the trousers.
Whoa.
Anyway, but you see, I find that people fear growing old for different reasons. I find nowadays, I think to myself, act your age, you know what I mean? So in the past, when people ask, why did you color your hair red? I won't feel old. But somebody asked me, I mean, this was not even in Nigeria, oh, your hair is red. And like, oh, should I be having red hair at 55? But I don't like gray hair. I mean, it's just tacky. My gray is coming out in little chunks. I wish it would just be all gray. And if I dyed it gray now, that would be too much. So I find growing old, I don't know about you for me. And Hattie's perspective kind of like opened my eyes. It will happen anyway. Yes. I mean, you heard Hattie. We don't grow old because... We grow old because we stop playing. We don't... I don't know how she put it.
But the whole idea.
She said, actually, the reason we grow old is because we stop playing. So remaining playful can be good at any stage, and there's no reason to fear death, to fear old age. Actually, do you know what I say to people? The alternative to growing old is dying young.
Oh, well, I mean...
Take a choice.
Wow, pick a choice, she says. And I think, you know, I turned 57 a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
Prior to that, I always thought, I'm so glad I'm a grown-up. And then I touched a part of my face, and it felt softer than I think it should. I thought, oh my God, does it mean that when I grow old, my cheeks will droop and my skin will be soft? And I started thinking differently. And then I felt, but I'm living my best life ever.
Good girl.
And I take every opportunity, even if I have to push myself, even if I have to go the extra mile, I'll do what my heart wants to do. So, you know, I might be a little late for one thing or the other, but I would have been laughing just before, and it's fine. So I think it's a good place to be for me now.
What is old, really? What's old? What do you think old is?
I think when you stop responding to the youthfulness of life. I mean...
Oh, that sounds good.
So it's about your response.
Yeah, so it's actually about your response. I mean, you're actually old. I mean age.
Yeah.
Chronologically.
But I mean, you're also very youthful and hippie, you know. And I just look at you all and I'm like, this is me when I'm 57, when I'm 60. Look at you, Atifumi, looking all fire in our words, you know. Fire. In our words, you know. So I think it's about the perspective. It's about the mind. I think there are actually a lot of young people like me who are actually already old in their thoughtfulness.
I think quote something by a philosopher, Epicurus.
Okay, it's in your book, actually.
Yes.
Life, yes.
Who was talking on my chapter on old age.
Well, I'm going to put it on screen.
I started the chapter by quoting Epicurus, a philosopher. And this fear thing says it is not the young man who should be considered fortunate, but the old man who has lived well. Because the young man in his prime wanders much by chance, vacillating in his beliefs, while the old man has docked in a harbor, having safeguarded his true happiness.
Wow.
So they want us to feel fortunate. But I hear what you said. It's very difficult to feel fortunate when you start feeling your body soften.
My knees.
And your knees stiff.
My knees.
And so I say to people, two things you need for old age: courage and humor.
Humor.
I think that was because my father-in-law, he passed recently at 88. But it was such a deep and painful thing, like a 28-year-old man died, because he was into everything. And the thing he had going for him was his youthfulness. He would play with a 2-year-old like he was a, you know. So I kind of buy into this idea of that. If you stop playing, you get old. But we must admit, sisters, that as we get old, some parts will go to the departure lounge.
That's where you need the courage and humor. Because you can look at yourself in the mirror and talk to yourself and say, for me, gravity is at it. What can we do about it? That's humor. Knowing that you are actually getting older takes courage. However, what doesn't make you fearful, like Epicurus says, is having lived well, having planned it, having prepared for it.
such that it's not a surprise.
Like she says, I mean...
You know, one of the things that we may benefit from in our generation is that we've had to look after aging parents.
Yes.
So we have seen in real life
how it plays out.
How it plays out. Whether your parents were socialites or very interesting people in their work life, you've seen them age gracefully. Then you've seen them go into what I call the forgotten nation, where people don't even remember them. And it's a lesson to us. We can choose to do as we will with our experiences of taking care of the aged.
I think that, as I was watching Chisom react to that, I'm wondering, Chisom, you're in your 20s, it's like you live forever. But how do the young view the old people? Do they respect them? Because one of the things about growing old is lack of relevance, really.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I think it's just normal, or it's just typical for us to, respect the old.
That's
because of
us. Because of our culture.
Because of our culture. Yeah. And that's the word, because of actually our culture. I mean, I find it very relative to see people who are older, like the little things we do when we see older people, we get up for them to sit, and a host of things. Probably if the person is walking by and the person needs help, if she's walking with her handbag, we could help her pick it up. It's just this mindset that maybe she doesn't have this.
No, but you're not addressing the issue of relevance. You know why it is that these people are past it. You know how they tell you, but they don't understand.
That's why relevance is actually by yourself, the preparation we talk about. Relevance is still being able to participate in the world.
Exactly.
At some stage.
And add value to the world.
And add value to the world. We all take career and we think career is going to last forever. But 80% of our socializing during career is from career and work. What a lot of people don't plan for is what will be their socializing and relevance after career, after those active lives. And I could give one or two advice in that direction.
No, but personal examples for me.
Yes. I mean, okay, let me give you an example. Relevance. A lot of my age mates might not be able to call up somebody who is, say, a senior manager in a bank today. But I still have friends amongst them. I call them up.
And these are people probably in their 40s or...
In their 40s who were not even in the banking industry when I was there.
So you don't carry airs?
I don't carry airs, but I lived my life in a way that I knew that I needed to keep that relevance going. So when I call them today, I don't call them to look for a contract. I call them to say, so what are the investment opportunities? So these things Central Bank just sent out, can you send me a one-pager as to how it might affect me?
Okay, I don't know how you respond to this, though. Don't you have a situation where I feel like Agbaya? I'm 55. I would like to wear a pair of shorts and walk on the street. But crying out loud, there's cellulites there. Why would I want to be punishing people with sight or cellulites? That's Agbayaism, if you ask me.
No, but that's grace. You have to do things with grace.
I think that now, I always say that if you look on Instagram, everybody has a brand.
Yes.
Everyone knows about it. Yes. The sale of makeup, etc., went up through the roof because of Instagram and selfies. So at your age, you must have a brand. And it must have a brand that has content.
Should drives relevance.
You shouldn't do mutton dressed as lamb.
Yes.
So there are certain clothes that I would never wear. But because I can't wear them, I might buy them for my young friend so that I can see my nieces and my nephews have fun in it. I still derive joy from that, but that still gives me relevance because they know that you're hot on fashion, you know what's going on, they can chat with you about that.
They have corroborate that.
And you can pay for it.
True or false?
True. True. And there are old people like Kim Kardashian's mom. I'm trying to remember her name right now.
Okay.
Kris Kardashian. Yes, Kris Jenner. She does a lot of...
See, I know about that more than you.
Yes. And she has done quite a number of things like facelifting and Yes, to remain very youthful and, you know,
It's a
look.
Exactly,
look
that's
like-
my point. That's what's happening now.
That's what Daniel Klein said in his book.
But you know, now
The
in
trap.
Lagos, there are people who fly in just to help you cut some parts. And I'm wondering, is that not just trying to stay young?
Why
It's a-
not? Why not?
Let's hear what she has to say about that.
What do you mean by why
I just
not?
think that if you feel uncomfortable with it, then
With what?
and
With what you look
with,
like?
with
With getting
what you
old?
look like.
Getting rid
and
of the
sometimes
wrinkles.
it's not even age because they're young people who still do breast lifts and everything.
Because they want
But
to
if
stay
you-
relevant,
Yeah,
because they want that
they-
perky breast. It's
I
got to do with age too.
Different strokes for different people. It's okay.
Let me say to you, let me speak to that point, Rosie. While I am, you all know, I'm vain. And so I'm not going to let the body go. I'm
Yeah,
going
you
to, I'm going
work
to
at
gym.
it.
I'm going to gym. I'm going to dress well. However, do you know what Daniel Klein, read the book, it's Travels with Epicurus. And he was talking about authentic aging. And in his book, he says, in an attempt to keep permanently youthful, and we struggle at it, it becomes exhausting. And it shows, the exhaustion shows on you.
And you start looking old.
And he says, by doing that, you actually miss a portion of life that should be pleasant, that should be enjoyed. And if you're not careful, you're going to jump from tight shirts, yellow Ferrari, into one day, you're just so old from the exhaustion.
Okay,
So,
you know what, guys. This is the
Yes.
time.
Beauty comes
Maybe
from
this is the time for me. Let's take a break because we must take a breather.
Yeah.
But I like that authentic aging. We'll be back and we'll be seeing how we can age authentically. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, you've convinced me. I'm going to put on my shoes again. After all, I'm not walking anywhere, and
Yes.
it does match my
Just show it
trousers,
off.
actually.
Show it off.
Beautiful.
But I think at this point, it's been nice for me to hear what Rosie had to say about aging authentically, because, I mean, authentic it depends on who's looking.
And it depends on what you think authentic is. We all make different choices in life. And if by a tummy tuck, I feel better about myself and I can go out and live my life, that's fine. If you're like me and you've got your bumps and inroads and you're still happy about that and you don't shy away from wearing a one-piece bathing costume, lucky you, or lucky me as the case is. But people should be free to live their lives the way they want to in order to get the best out of that time. For me today, as I'm aging, I like to take every opportunity. If I go to a theme park, I'll be trying everything there. I made a conscious decision. I'm not going to be afraid of anything. If it's the water, I'm in it. If it's a slide, I'm up on it. I made a conscious decision.
That's courage. That's
Because-
courage.
But then
And-
it's part of growing old, because if I didn't do that, I could go out with the young ones and find myself seated with a book or just staring. I want to be in it.
So you must be active.
No, that's
but
playfulness. We must differentiate.
Isn't there a thin line between playfulness and agbayaism?
No,
Please define
exactly.
agbayaism.
I can see the difference from what... There's playfulness.
No,
if I
for me-
will
for me,
gym...
help me explain what agbaya is. Agbaya is a Yoruba word, which means...
Agbaya is basically trying too hard to be what you're not. And not only is it exhausting to you, it looks hilarious to the young people watching. What do you think?
I think so too.
So if you saw me on the street with
You
hot
look
pants...
hilarious sometimes.
I mean, if you didn't do it well, like if you didn't cover up the necessary places,
necessary beats?
and you're trying to be like us in a very extreme way, of course I would laugh.
Helen
of course I would
Mirren.
have that conversation with my mate, like,
Yes, but
What would you say? No, let me hear what she'll say. What would you say with your
What would you
mate?
say?
okay, she's trying too hard.
Oh, yeah, Onigba.
No, but also I don't think that sits with one group of people, because you do see younger people in very high shoes who cannot walk.
Yes.
I would look at them and say, girl,
Trying too hard.
you don't need to.
Yeah.
You could have lowered by an inch, you'd be fine. You're trying too hard. So it exists in every group, every grouping of people.
But it looks,
But it looks ridiculous with old people. I believe it looks
hilarious and ridiculous. With age. Do you know what Helen Mirren said? Helen Mirren says, I took that from
You are
her.
quoting people today. Oh.
No, I'm a self-help person. I learn learn from other people. Helen Mirren, actress, superstar. She says after a certain age, it became three-quarter sleeve. She wasn't going to let certain things
because this part
jowl around. Now, some people might be comfortable with those things hanging about, but it's actually being vain that Helen Mirren and I have decided on our three-quarter sleeve.
No, but I think
maybe
it's gracefulness.
It's grace.
No,
Thank
I
you.
also think
It's
beyond
grace.
gracefulness, it's being kind to other people. I don't see why an older woman who has this thing flying around and then you say because I don't care and you are.
It's called Hallelujah Mom Arms.
No, it doesn't. It's not fair.
The flies.
Let the young ones do it, and
The
you just.
flies.
I saw an older woman, actually much older woman. One
Like in her
at
80s?
church, yes, close to her 80s, and she was exquisite. High heels, well balanced,
yes,
beautiful from head to toe. And I watched her interacting with other people, and I saw she was beautiful from the inside as well. But I tell you, the heels she was in, and the fact that she was comfortable and gracefully walking around, just told me that. God, you're so good to some people. Why not me?
It's like you see me.
out.
It's like you
She
see me in
works
heels
out.
now.
And
going
you
around.
think, oh.
But do you know that I will not wear this whole day? Never. I'll pick my time. I have a pair of slippers in my bag. I have a pair of slippers in my bag.
Once she steps in the car, she's got her flag.
I'm telling you.
No, that's true.
So it's being organized.
yes.
It's planning.
And gracefulness.
Yes, grace.
Knowing when.
Grace.
But do you fear grace? I still do.
Do I know? But before now,
Use
I
your mom
couldn't
as an
wait
example. Your mom is.
Yes, my mom is so active and full of life, and like you're
I'm
just
sure your
living
mom's about
her
her age.
best life and doing. It was her birthday 2 weeks ago, and I wanted to take her out, and she was like, "Oh no, we can't do that another day. I'm going to hang with my girls." I felt so
slighted.
like. I'm telling you that I want to use my money to take you out, But then I was happy to see that even at this age, she was able to say, I'm going to hang with my girls and just do their thing, And before now, I really want
to go back to that point she made about wanting to take her mother out. And
Yeah.
Because that's very important as you age.
Yeah, and before now, I couldn't wait to grow up. Just so I have freedom, just so I could do, be an adult. When you go out, they'll be like, oh, yes. When you want to go for events, they'll say 18 and above and things like that. But now, I couldn't wait to be an adult in all the full sense of it. But now, I just want to be here. I just want to be this age, just always be happy to say, I'm 21. And they'll be like, oh my God.
So I think that's the key, really, to be happy wherever you are. And I think that's what Rosie tried to communicate as well. Be happy. If you're 55, be happy. But I would say, remember that you won't always be 55. And put as much as you can in that time, which brings you to the...
The point, she made, which is wonderful. I say to people, as you age, get a life. Get a life. Her mother just made her realize that she had a life. She has a life. And there is nothing that exudes confidence than as you age, not clinging.
So what do you think happens? We just get lost in our children
and insist
in
that our
work.
children need to pander to us all the time, and we moan about being abandoned, and this person... This morning, I called a young friend. I said, you just occurred to me. And she said, oh, Auntie, I don't want to call you all the time. So it's not like I'm disturbing you. I said, disturb me all you want. However, all these young people that surround me means that my children can see that I have a life. And so, once in a while, when I say, can you arrange a show for you and I to go, they know I'm not clinging.
No, but what I think,
so get a life.
What I think, though, there'll come a time in our lives where we'll have to depend on them. I mean, my mother is 85. I have to get her to have a bath. And I can't understand why, it just reminds me of what the Bible says about at some point in time, people will lead you to where you don't want to go. So I keep telling her, Mom, when I was young, you made me have a bath 3 times. Now I'm just asking you to have a bath once a day. There has to be somebody.
There comes old age. That's old age.
I'm also thinking, as you were speaking, I'm just thinking about the fact that without being clingy or imposing, there's so much we can bring to the world.
When you say we,
mentoring.
When you say we,
are you moving away from me because I'm older than you?
She said she doesn't want that we to see where I am. To include her.
Oh,
Okay,
young one.
Okay, young one.
Mentoring, sponsoring others.
Yes.
Leveraging our network to bring relevance to others, because it does come back to you. And I think that's one of the things we probably don't do enough of. You do it if you've been maybe in corporate or in a certain position where you've had people around you all the time. But there are different types of life. And
so even in our social life.
In our social lives, don't impose, because some people can be, they can be almost intimidating with their age. But
Don't
then
you know
where people, where you have a general affinity, try and speak into other people's lives. Try and show them the way. Sponsor them in a way that, oh, have you met so-and-so? She's really good at.
Okay, so it goes back to what Hattie says, it's what you give. As we get older,
she says you make a living from what you get, but you make a life from what you give.
So because as we get older, life begins to stay us and we begin to give. I think it'd be good for us to see, I want what and it speaks to what you're trying to say, is old chronological? I want all of us to respond to that quickly as you...
Old is not chronological because I have an 80-year-old girlfriend that I have lunch with regularly, and I know everything that happened in her life, and she helps me, like you say, giving back. You know, giving back, you get the impression that you have to be financially good. No, she is giving back into my life because she tells me, Fumi, there's nothing new. In 1940-something, when we came back from England, then she tells me the story, and I think...
So she helps you to navigate the path of aging. What about you? Is it chronology or is it...
I don't think so as well. I think, like I said, youthfulness, it's in the mind. It's how your perception...
I wonder if Rosie thinks differently.
I think a number of things. I think it's partly in the mind. It's partly physical. Is partly chronology. But in all of that is, who are you as a person? Who do you want to be?
So, well, like we say, there's never enough time to talk about this on the air. But the truth is, we've all given our points and our perspectives. And the good thing is we can continue the conversations on social media. Hashtag TW Conversations is there. But meanwhile, Fumi has insisted that we can't go away without talking about taking care of the old. So at the end of the day, it's a function of all of us doing our own bits at different stages in life. When you're at your age, you think you know it all. But when you get to that level, there's more. When we're at our age, we think it's past, we're past it, and we're worried that you won't accept us. But at the end of the day, we need each other, right? So ladies, one last word. What would it be?
No, start with Rosie. I'm trying to get my thoughts together.
Look at the young. Last thoughts.
I think the noise in my head is that where we have children, we're more forgiving of our children in their reactions to us than we are of other people that we meet in their reaction to older people.
So what's the lesson in that?
So mine is always play it through and think, if my child was at that age, how would I help them up? How would I react to what they're doing or saying?
So that we personally.
Let's not take it personally. Let's open up to others and let them have a play in our life, and let's be playful.
Okay, 2 points. I go back to the point about old. In the past, in our tradition, nobody was afraid of getting old because they were looked after. They continued to be part of the community. Now we can ensure we're not afraid by preparing for it, by making sure that we do things that will keep us relevant and playful right to the end.
So I think my generation should stop being a loner. They should try to, reach out more, connect more with our parents and our older ones. Try to do things, call. We should reach out more.
And I just say, like the Yoruba say.
No, don't.
It's not a curse. But it's a blessing, because I'm happy when my kids do. I say, well, they will have
when
kids.
When they do good things.
Yes, when they do, they will see it. When they are not understanding, and they eventually get understanding, they would know. But the truth is, age will come, whether we like it or not, because our body parts will go to departure lounge. But if we take Fumi's advice of staying fit and trying hard, at least you extend the quality of life that you have, whether you are old or young. We'll see you again next week, hopefully, on the show. Continue the conversations online, and bye from the girls in the lounge. Bye. Mwah, mwah.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from Plus TV Africa.
On Plus TV News now, Academic Staff Union of Universities extends warning strike by 3 months. President Muhammadu Buhari urges World Bank, African Development Bank to support One Planet Summit initiative for land restoration. Sri Lanka's Prime Minister resigns amid mass protests. Good evening and welcome again. This is News Now. I'm Loretta Chiogo. President Muhammadu Buhari has urged the World Bank, African Development Bank, AFDB, and other partners to support the One Planet Summit initiative and activate the $19 billion pledge, which he said would be utilized for land restoration, tree planting, development of climate resilience infrastructure, and investments in small and medium-sized farms. He made the call in Abidjan while speaking at a sideline of an event he convened at the ongoing UN Conference of Parties COP15 in his capacity as the president of the Conference of Heads of State and Governments of the member states of the Pan-African Great Green Wall Agency. President Buhari also underscored the importance of recharging Lake Chad, now down to 10% of its water volume, as 11 Sahel African states discuss ways of and means of accessing and utilizing $19 billion pledged by donors for the activities. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has rolled over its ongoing strike for another 12 weeks, and that's according to a statement signed by the union's president, Professor Emmanuel Osodeke. He said the union has given the government enough time to satisfactorily resolve all the outstanding issues, and that the rollover strike was effective from May 9th, that's today. ASU said it took the decision after its National Executive Council meeting, which was called to review developments since the union declared an 8-week total and comprehensive rollover strike at the end of its emergency meeting on the 14th of March. Some of ASU's demands include the release of revitalization funds for universities, renegotiation of the 2009 FGN ASU agreement, release of earned allowances for university lecturers, and the deployment of the UTAS payment platform for the payment of salaries and allowances of university lecturers. Now, UNILAG students this morning staged a peaceful protest against continued ASU strike. They walked on the road singing solidarity songs up to their school gate, demanding that the government resolve the strike and let them return to school. They, however, said the action was just a warning protest and that if government does not listen to them, they would occupy the streets.
Solidarity forever, we shall always fight our own. In front of University of Lagos Gate, the students of the school gathered to protest. They are demanding that the government should ensure they return to school. Margaret Akiwande, a mother of one of the students, joined them in solidarity.
I'm here to support my students, my children, because I'm a mother. I want ASU to go back to school, to resume. If one person that wants to come out as a president can purchase a phone for 100 million, it means they can afford to be the demands of ASU. They are not lazy youths, because when they go abroad, they all excel. It is the women that vote and the youths. We have the vote, so we keep our votes.
The students who sympathized with their lecturers because of their remuneration let out their emotions. They said the protest would continue if the government did not resolve the issues.
Government has become very irresponsible, and it is very clear. So there is no ground that they are even shifting, or there's no ground that they have even made right now. The government has not even called for a single meeting with ASU. And yet this is a government that negotiates with bandits, negotiates with terrorists, but cannot negotiate with workers. NANS have said there's not going to be any presidential primaries for the PDP or APC if they don't. That's a very good demand.
I gained admission since 2019, and I'm still in 200 level. Like, I've not even written 200 level exam. I can proudly say I'm just in 100 level. And if it is about staying at home, learning a skill, I wouldn't have written JAMB in the first place. When will I graduate? I should be like they're rolling over a strike, like it's a data bundle. I don't get this. Is our lives that you're playing with.
The government refuses to listen to us. We are assuring the government that we are going to come out again. We are not going to stop now. And 2023, we are out for them.
And we just heard they extend the strike by another 12 weeks, which means if we are not out here to protest, we are going to be resuming by August. We are tired of sitting at home. We are tired of roaming about the streets of Lagos. I need my right to education.
These people are very violent, and they won't listen until they see the writing on the wall. Take men who fasten. Then they will know that the students are ready to come out and take the bullets.
The course that was supposed to be for 3 years, I ended up spending 4 years because of strike. And then I came here for human kinetics and I'm supposed to spend 4 years, and now I'm going into 6 years for a 4-year course. Round it all up, that is 10 years just because I want to have a degree. Let our 4 years be 4 years. Pay our lecturers that are teaching us because we are the future of tomorrow. So we will not stop until we get what we want.
They have neglected the educational system of this country. They are busy buying nomination forms for the upcoming election, and they will still come and clamor on students to come and vote for them. We are very idle, yes, we are very, very idle. We are lazy Nigerian youths. We don't have anything we are doing, so we are going to come out. And we are going to keep coming out to the streets. We are going to make sure that everybody feels the pain that Nigerian students are going through.
It's been over 80 days since the strike began, and with the recent announcement by ASU that they are extending the strike by 12 weeks, Nigerians are watching whether the government will listen. Paul George, Plus TV News.
And away from Lagos to Edo State, where students of various universities across the state described the 12-week extension of the ongoing industrial action by ASU as unacceptable. The students blocked the entrance gate to the Benin airport. They also took their protest to the state secretariat of the Nigerian Union of Journalists.
Within 24 hours, they dish out money for subsidizing aviation fuel. But for the past 3 months, they did not see money to settle ASU. Because why? Because why? We, the common man, we are the ones suffering it. And the aviation, the flights, they are the ones using it. Enough is enough of the foolishness. We cannot continue like this.
Just few days that the local airport went on strike, in less than 24 hours, they brought them back. They brought them back. As at on Thursday of last week, we've been home for 80 days. 80 days. Yesterday we have been told that they've added 12 weeks more. How will a government prioritize politics, aviation to education?
And you recall that we remain umpire when it comes to reportage. Yes! I want to assure you very strongly that the points you have raised this afternoon will be taken to the appropriate quarter.
Medical activities at the specialist hospital Yola in Adamawa State were partially disrupted in the early hours by protesting staff of the institution. They have accused the medical director of incompetence in handling the affairs of the hospital. The protesters urged Governor Ahmadu Fintiri to investigate the running of the hospital, alleging that some staff have been made redundant by the medical chief. In reaction, the medical director, who described the protesters as unpatriotic elements milking the resources of the hospital, said his administration believes in accountability and that on weekly basis over 6,000 patients have been attended to.
Well, we are here to show our grievances to the world. In fact, concerning what is happening in the specialist hospital. Actually, this man, he came with a mission. His intention is to make these specialists down.
As you know, we civil servants, we wanted to protest for our rights. As this new management came under Dr. David Dauda Wadinga, he was our locum staff here, a permanent staff from Federal FMC Yola. So as he was brought here, he was doing locum here with our commissioner Tut here in ENT. But as they brought him as MD, he started changing all the nature of our work.
All these placards that you are seeing here have spoken our minds because the problems are just too many. There are too much of the problems that the MD has been creating or causing for us in this hospital. The biggest problem is that mismanagement of human resources.
As of today, there is nobody in specialists that were paying 10,000 naira. When I came, they were being paid 10,000 naira and I increased it to 20,000 naira. Secondly, they said there is no drug in a pharmacy. I asked your team of journalists to go to specialist hospital and check if there are drugs in our pharmacy. Then, they also talked about revenue. Look, specialist hospital is a functional hospital. We have director of finance. We have accountants. The revenue they are insisting on. Look, when I came because of racketeering, We computerize the system. Go there, punch, you will see how much did they generate from theater, how much labor ward, how much laboratory. Is there on the computer. Do you understand? The 3 receipts are being printed and given to individual, to patient. The finance department will hold one, patient will go with one, and the user department will also hold one. And they reconcile at the end of the month. See how much have this department generated. So that is their problem, because now they are not getting the money. It is computerized. The director of finance is there, the accountant is there, the cashiers are there. Of course, we brought in few people that will come and checkmate them.
The Nigerian Union of Pensioners in Benue State has said that it would continue to employ peaceful dialogue in negotiating the issues of pensions and gratuities. Reacting to a recent protest by the pensioners, the state chairman of NUP, Michael Vembe, said the union has agreed with the state government on the pattern of payment considering the economic condition of the state. He called on the aggrieved part members to stop the act of confrontation and rather team up with the union to ensure regular payment is done.
The NUP, original NUP are saying, because when they were in Makudi, there were complaints that they're not satisfied with our agreement with government, that the government should be paying them on internal basis of what they wanted, because they pay us 35 months. We say, we have agreed that on you 35 months, but should be a procedure that will have to approach government and then he will pay that. And they will say, okay, we'll go and protest. I said, if we was talking to the governor is agreeing to us, why should we move and protest? Because most things will ask them to do it.
We're now being joined by Honorable Comrade Akosu Orban Alexis. He is the chairman of the concerned aggrieved pensioners in Benue State, and also Tena Ahoa, the chairman pension board also of Benue State. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening to you. Mr. Orban there, right? Can you hear me clearly, Mr. Orban? We will get back to the gentleman as soon as we can connect onto network. The president of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, has joined the race for the 2023 presidency on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, APC. Lawan made the formal declaration in Abuja when a group of concerned Nigerians known as National Stability Project presented the expression of interest and nomination forms to him. While receiving the forms, Lawan said that even though he was joining late, he would play the game by the rules.
It's already full of other aspirants. I want at this point to assure Nigerians that the APC is a very, very beautiful bride. I place my trust fully, totally and completely on the Almighty God. That God will bless us, bless this movement and this journey. And I want to appeal to all Nigerians that we are seriously committed to taking Nigeria to the next level from where it is today, or where it will be on the 29th of May 2023, and it will be at a very solid point and ground at that time, needing only to be improved and consolidated.
And in a related development, the Minister of State for Petroleum, Timipre Silva, and Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade have also obtained their nomination and expression of interest forms in Abuja ahead of Tuesday's deadline for the sale of nomination for the sale of the forms. The International Conference Center Abuja was agog with activities as several aspirants vying for various electoral offices stormed the venue to obtain their forms at the last minute. And the former Senate President Bukola Saraki has said that Nigeria needs good leadership to emerge in the forthcoming elections for the sake of unity and development of the country. After a closed-door meeting with the former President of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, in Ogun State, Saraki maintained that a country must be economically and financially buoyant for development, hence expressed confidence that he can deliver the kind of leadership the country needs.
The kind of leadership this country requires, I can provide that leadership. And in my consultation with delegates across the country, I can see a change. People are looking for capacity. People are looking for somebody that can unite the country. People are looking for somebody that's not about north or south. People are looking at somebody that's not about what religion he worships. People are looking at somebody that has the energy and the capacity. I'm looking at the experience and people who have been able to stand. Because you need a bold and courageous president. But the decisions that we need to take as a country today requires courage and bold. It's not just about just being president for the sake of just an ambition. It's not an ambition. We're in a very, very delicate as a nation.
A federal high court in Abuja has refused a request by the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, to restrain INEC and the AGF, Abubakar Malami, preventing him from his presidential ambition. The CBN governor told the court in Abuja that he can run for the post of the president without vacating his position as the CBN governor. He also, through his counsel, Michael Zekome, told the court that Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act, as amended, does not affect him being a public servant and not a political appointee. The court, in its ruling, however, summoned INEC and the AGF to appear before it on May 12 to show cause on why status quo should not be granted to Emefiele. Also from the court, a prosecution witness, DSP Olusegun Bamidele, has told the Lagos State High Court sitting at Tafawa Balewa Square that Chidinma Ojukwu was charged with the murder of Usifo Ataga and was tracked through her phone. Bamidele, who is the 9th prosecution witness in the trial of Ojukwu for the murder of Ataga, the chief executive officer of Super TV, said that the Intelligence and Tactical Unit of the State Criminal Investigating Department, SCID Yaba, tracked Ojukwu down to number 57 Akiomi Street, Alagomeji in Yaba. Bamidele, who serves in the homicide section of the SCID, gave evidence at the resumed trial of Ojukwu, saying that the Intelligence and Tactical Unit of the SCID tracked Ojukwu down. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has advised President Muhammadu Buhari to beam a searchlight on the activities of the National Boundary Commission as it now personifies corruption in Nigeria. At a special Thanksgiving service of Rivers State over the legal victory secured at the Supreme Court of Nigeria in the oil well dispute between Rivers and Imo State held in Port Harcourt, Wike said that Rivers State, at the inception of his administration, was dedicated to God and has since then enjoyed his protection, including its people and natural resources. Governor Wike expressed delight over the legal victory secured and the reclaiming of Rivers assets that would further provide needed financial resources to his successor in developing the state.
To the Federal High Court, I will say this. What is the problem? The president has no power to direct you to do this. And the court agreed with us, yes, Mr. President, you have no power to do this. If there's anybody that should do this, it should be National Boundary Commission.
Airline operators have called off the planned strike that was to begin today following the intervention of the House of Representatives at the instance of the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, in Abuja. Our correspondent, Emmanuel Ehejene, completes the report.
It was really a grueling session that lasted 4 hours as the airline operators and the group managing director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Mele Kyari, engaged in accusations and counter-accusations over the landing cost of Jet A1. The Speaker, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, reeled out the terms of the agreement between the marketers and operators, which unfortunately will pave the way for the smooth running of the aviation sector in the short term, middle term, and long term.
Marketers of choice that you are comfortable with and you know their markup will not drive you out of business will be supplied with jet fuel, correct? For 3 months.
At 480.
No, we didn't say 480. That's whatever at that point in time the landing cost. So we talked at that time about 550 or something like that. The third resolution is that on the long term, mid to long term, if right now you will begin or commence the process of application for your own license to be able to import your own jet fuel.
These resolutions imply that in the next 3 months, 6 million litres of ATK will be made available to the operators, pending at 480 naira per litre, which will be supplied through their preferred marketers. While for the long term, it was resolved that license be granted to airline operators to import their products, aviation fuel, directly from the international oil market. Other organizations present are the Central Bank of Nigeria, the NNPC, and the Petroleum, up and downstream, amongst others. They made their submissions defending their roles in the complications that ended up in the face-off.
This market shifts, as we speak now, is closely related to the price of crude oil. As it lands in this country, there are a number of things that happen which they have engaged with the downstream authority to determine what exactly are the build-up to the pricing. No two suppliers will have the same pricing because suppliers buy at different prices from their own suppliers too.
It was about 530 or thereabout. 540 as the cost. How then are some people now offering us at 480 to say to us at 480? And remember, they gave from the PIF that was given to the marketers was given at 335. And we are still getting at 670. With due respect, sir, you may have to clear this out. Let's talk to ourselves the truth.
It is Naira intervention that you're asking for. But of course, you know that your bank will look at your creditworthiness to be sure that historically you've had a good credit. If you don't have a good credit, you are not going to access it. And of course, some of you know that you have accessed CBN funding for importation of aircrafts. And indeed, when the pandemic was on, we also did provide some kind of support for you, so we've done so.
These resolutions would at least ensure that Nigerians continue to go about their businesses unhindered for the time being.
Mixed reactions have continued to trail the ongoing demolition at a Butimeta area of Lagos State. The permanent secretary of the State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, Olufemi Osointolu, confirmed that the buildings failed integrity and structural tests. Our correspondent, Jacinta Obiuku, tells us more.
The rate of building collapse, especially here in the city of Lagos, is worrisome and has called for action in bringing down some inadequate structures, like here in Butimeta.
With the numerous cases of building collapse, especially the recent collapse of an old 3-story building at number 24 Ibadan Street of Herbert Macaulay Way, Butimeta, the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency and Lagos State Building Control Agency are not taking chances as they have swung into actions in demolishing the illegal structures here at number 54 Jeba Street, Butimeta. An official who spoke off the camera disclosed that 3 buildings have been demolished, with more to go down. Some of the residents appreciated the state government for a job well done, saying that the demolition is in the right direction as prevention is better than cure. while some lamented that they were neither informed nor given enough time to vacate.
I believe that government knows what is best when it comes to demolishing a structure that is not befitting. You understand? So the government officials, they came around yesterday for proper demolition, and I can only say that residents and property owners should do the needful, and they should consult the right professionals anytime they want to go into construction. Yes, because lives and property should be well secured.
Yes, it's good. There are some that are marked around the street, which I think is very good. It's better you save millions than keep one assassin alive. So that's the only thing. Because most of these developers, most of them are assassins. They don't care. Because the only thing they think about is their own money.
My shop isn't even near that house. It's opposite by the side. The man just came and he didn't even involve in me anything at all. He just came yesterday and demolished everything. Even the man was demolished, he was helping me to remove my things and pack it to another side. He told the man you must demolish everything. I don't even have anybody. I have God. That's the only thing hope for me, for me and my children. That's the thing I'm spending my children to the school. They should have informed us. They give us 2 days or 3 days to pack ourselves and arrange ourselves.
We are preventing future for the building not to collapse. Meanwhile, it affects the poor masses beside the building, which is not supposed to be that. Even though if you want to make prevention, you have to caution and even have perseverance for others that will affect.
LASEMA Permanent Secretary Femi Oke Osoyintolu has issued a statement stating that the constructions failed numerous integrity and structural tests and were subjected to several stop work orders which were severely flouted. Jacinta Obiuku, Plus TV News.
Also in Lagos, an old two-story building has been discovered to have partially collapsed at 36 Sanusi Street in Shomolu area of the state. In a statement, the PS of LASEMA stated that the balcony of the building, which had been marked for demolition since July 2021, is severely distressed with many cracks on the structure. Oke Osoyintolu added that in the interest of public safety and to forestall any disaster, the structure would be pulled down to ground zero with immediate effect. Salah Head, Egypt's public prosecutor orders arrest of 13 teenage boys accused of harassing 2 women tourists. Details when we return.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment of winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
You're welcome back into other parts of Africa. The World Health Organization, WHO, and its COVID vaccine partner Gavi have no immediate plans to buy shots made by Aspen Pharmacare. The two bodies said this, dealing a blow to Africa's efforts to develop its own vaccine production capacity.
Africa's efforts to develop its own vaccine production capacity have been dealt a blow.
The World Health Organization and its COVID-19 vaccine partner Gavi say they have no immediate plans to buy shots made by Aspen Pharmacare. The South African company completed a deal in March to package, sell and distribute Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine. That was lauded as a game-changing moment for a continent frustrated by sluggish Western handouts. But expectations of high demand in Africa, where just a sixth of adults are fully vaccinated, have not materialized. Aspen's CEO, Stephen Sard, last week warned it would be forced to repurpose about half its vaccine production capacity if orders did not pick up. The Africa Centers for Disease Control has called on organizations procuring doses for the continent to prioritize sourcing from African producers. But the problem seems to be that the global sharing program COVAX, which has been instrumental in Africa's pandemic response, doesn't currently need any more shots. COVAX is backed by the WHO, the Global Vaccine Alliance Gavi, and the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations. A spokesperson for Gavi said that, in the case of Aspen, they are not currently in a position to buy large quantities of vaccines. Kate O'Brien, the WHO's Director of Immunization, Vaccines and Biologicals, said COVAX had already secured the 380 million vaccine doses required for the second and third quarters of this year. The African Union's goal is to produce 60% of all routine vaccines, that's everything from COVID to measles, administered in Africa locally by 2040. That's up from the current 1%. Several plants are being set up and the WHO and EU are backing regional manufacturing initiatives. But recently, acute shortages of COVID-19 vaccines have given way to a glut of doses. Aspen Sard has warned the current lack of demand calls into question the viability of local production, thus endangering Africa's future vaccine security.
With the smell of glue and old paper filling the air, Libyan volunteers gathered around cramped desks at a workshop to restore old or damaged copies of the Quran. The Mirzan workshop was established in 2006 in the coastal town of Tripoli, where one of the founders said they have restored upwards of 500,000 of Quran. They have also held courses for others who wish to learn the craft. 10 to 15 volunteers offer their services at the workshop on a daily basis. And Egypt's public prosecutor has ordered the arrest of 13 teenage boys accused of harassing 2 women tourists at the Giza pyramids near Cairo. The boys are to remain in custody pending an investigation. The arrests came after a video surfaced on social media showing a crowd of boys swarming around 2 young women at the famous archaeological site, one of Egypt's top tourist attractions. The office of the chief prosecutor said that a tour guide who filmed the incident with his smartphone has accused the teens of verbally and physically harassing the women. And the boys have denied the charges. Well, if charged, the boys will be tried before a juvenile court. Outside Africa, houses of several lawmakers of Sri Lanka's ruling party were set on fire by anti-government protesters, claiming they were behind the mob attack on Galle Force. Local media report says violence erupted in Sri Lanka amid a crippling economic crisis after mobs supporting Mahinda Rajapaksa, who resigned as a prime minister, attacked peaceful protesters. The protesters were said to have set ablaze the residence of several politicians, including the ruling MP Sanath Nishantha. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka's Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has resigned amid mass protests at the government's handling of a deepening economic crisis. The move came as the island was placed under curfew after violent clashes between Rajapaksa's supporters and anti-government protesters in Colombo. 5 people have died, including a ruling party member of parliament, and more than 190 injured in violence in the capital. Buckingham Palace has announced that the Queen has pulled out of this year's state opening of the Parliament and the reading of the Queen's speech, making it the first time since 1963 that the Queen will have missed this constitutional ceremony, which sets out the government's legislative plans. Prince Charles will deliver the speech for the Queen, as the 96-year-old monarch has mobility problems and has had to cancel a number of recent public appearances. That's according to a statement. Until Monday evening, Buckingham Palace had been saying the Queen hoped to attend, but has now confirmed she will not go to the ceremony in Westminster. The former political wing of the Irish Republican Army, IRA, Sinn Féin, has called for a two-power-sharing administration to be set up quickly after the Democratic Unionist Party, DUP, refused to jointly govern until post-Brexit trading rules were overhauled. The head of the party in the region, Michelle O'Neill, told a news conference that brinkmanship will not be tolerated, where the north of Ireland becomes collateral damage in a game of chicken with the European Commission. Sinn Féin overtook the DUP to win the most seats at elections to the region's devolved assembly at the weekend, the first time a party seeking to leave the United Kingdom came out on top.
Today we have met with the British Secretary of State. I've spoken with the Taoiseach. I'll be engaging with other party leaders, and my message is clear. As Democrats, the DUP, but also the British government, must accept and respect the democratic outcome of this election. Brinkmanship will not be tolerated, where the north of Ireland becomes collateral damage in a game of chicken with the European Commission. The responsibility for finding solutions to the protocol to make its smooth implementation lie with Boris Johnson and the EU. But make no mistake, we and our business community here will not be held to ransom. This means that applying the Good Friday Agreement in all of its parts, an Assembly, Executive, North-South Ministerial Council, and an East-West structure without delay and no further interruption.
So the election is over and we have the results, and it has been a historic election. We have for the first time a nationalist, a Republican First Minister elected in the person of Michelle O'Neill. And the job now is to get to work. We need to see the immediate formation of an executive, Michelle O'Neill ratified as First Minister.
London's Mayor Sadiq Khan has been with the New York City Mayor Eric Adams in New York to promote tourism in London as the city recovers from pandemic. Adams introduced Khan as the rock star of mayors. During the press conference, Adams announced the signing of the C40 Good Food Cities Declaration. C40 is a network of almost 100 of the world's biggest cities working to slow climate change.
If you are a mayor that only stands on your block, you're not going to solve the problems of the globe. And we better start thinking globally if we want to solve global problems. And the mere fact that we have this amazing mayor from London that gets it, that's why he's in America. What he learns here, he's going to take back to his city and use it to lift up his city.
By you signing the declaration today, you're trying to explain to New Yorkers, as we've tried to do in London, the connection between what we eat in relation to our personal well-being and the planet. And I want to thank you as chair of C40. For those that don't know, C40 is the network of 97 megacities across the globe, from New York to London, from Madrid to Buenos Aires, from Dhaka to Freetown.
Up next, prices of rice, others increase despite reopening of land borders. That's in business news.
do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, then go beat you. Now 2,500 they pay.
And in business news, Nigeria was unable to produce about 22.658 million barrels of crude oil valued at 1.22 trillion naira in the first quarter of this year. And this was due to its persistent inability to meet the crude oil production quota approved for the country by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. An analysis of data contained in various OPEC reports released a different month this year showed that Nigeria failed to meet its oil production quotas in January, February, and March of 2022. Figures obtained from OPEC show that the crude oil production quota approved by the organization for Nigeria in January this year was 1.683 million barrels per day. And the prices of local rice, palm oil, brown beans, and bread, amongst other staple food items, surged across Lagos markets. The recent food price increases despite the reopening of 4 more land borders by the President Muhammadu Buhari 2 weeks ago. An NNPC has revealed that the recent fuel queues in Abuja is likely caused by low loadouts at depot, which usually happens during long public holidays. The NNPC disclosed this in a statement last night while reacting to reappearing fuel queues in Abuja. The corporation added that it is working with its marketing partners to take necessary measures to ramp up loadouts from all depots. And aviation workers have insisted that they are commencing a 2-day warning strike today over poor welfare emanating from their employers. The Secretary General of the National Union of Air Transport Employees, Ocheme Abba, said that there was no going back on the planned strike. He pointed out that their employers were yet to implement the conditions of service on which both parties had agreed. Aber also said that the minimum wage approved by the federal government in 2019 had not impacted the public sector workers. And that's business news. Thanks for watching. I am Destiny Momo. The news continues.
And entertainment news is up next.
American singer Nick Jonas and his wife Priyanka Chopra have taken their baby home after spending more than 3 months in the intensive care unit. The couple released a joint statement via their Instagram pages as part of activities to mark Mother's Day. The couple expressed joy over their daughter's journey home for the first time since her birth. They welcomed their first child together back in January 2022. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are heading to the UK next month with son Archie Harrison and daughter Lilibet Diana. They're excited and honored to attend the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations this June with their children. The news comes shortly after Queen Elizabeth announced that after careful consideration, the Queen has decided that this year's traditional trooping, the Colour Balcony appearance on Thursday, 2nd of June, will be limited to Her Majesty and those members of the royal family who are currently undertaking official public duties on behalf of the Queen. The hit-and-run driver charged in the crash that killed Nicki Minaj's father on Long Island last year has pleaded guilty. He was then told by the judge that he would spend no more than 1 year in prison, upsetting Minaj's widowed mother. Charles Povich admitted to leaving Robert Maraj on the side of the road to die after we struck him while he was walking along a snowy road in Mignola in February 2021. Povich got out of his vehicle, looked over the injured Maraj and asked him if he was okay before he walked back into his 1992 Volvo and drove off without calling 911. He drove home and packed the car in his garage and covered it with tarp. He pleaded guilty to tampering with evidence for hiding the vehicle. Maraj died at a hospital the next day. YouTube has announced a series of events to run throughout the month of May in celebration of Africa Month. The events are intended to reaffirm YouTube's commitment to growing Africa's creator ecosystem and to spotlight and celebrate the artists and creators who are driving the growth of Afrobeats and Africa's music industry. Content creators in Africa will receive support from YouTube through virtual and in-person trainings and to workshops to help them grow their channels and improve their skills. The YouTube Africa Day concert in partnership with Idris Elba will return for the third year in a row as part of the Africa Month lineup.
We bring the sports news now.
Hello and welcome to Sports News on Plus TV Africa. The Titan Desert Morocco 2022 Endurance Mountain Biking event got underway in Merzouga, Morocco on Sunday, May 8th, 2022 through stunning desert scenery. Morocco has hosted the event for the past 16 years and the 2022 version consists of 6 days of racing, totaling 645 kilometers across 6 stages to reach the Madid region. Stage 1 was a 199-kilometer loop stage to the west of Erg Chabi, near to the village of Merzouga. In the men's event, Francisco Herrero won the sprint against the reigning champion Koni Lusa and his teammate Roberto Bu. The top 3 finished in less than 4 hours. In the women's classification, Ana Ramirez is the first rider to wear the blue jersey, 4 minutes ahead of debutant Vera Lusa. Newly appointed coach for Egypt's national football team, Hiab Galal, says he will work on creating a new identity for the team as Egypt heads to Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers in June. The 54-year-old, who will be replacing Carlos Queiroz, was in charge of the Pyramids FC in the Egyptian Premier League, who he joined at the start of the season and has led to the quarterfinals of the African Confederation Cup. Galal will be tasked with lifting the mood of the national team after they lost on penalties to Senegal in the final of the recent Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon. Last month, they fell to the same opponents in the final African qualifying round for the World Cup in Qatar, also via spot kicks. Galal's first assignment will be the 2023 Cup of Nations qualifiers that kick off in June. And Borussia Dortmund top striker Erling Haaland is close to sealing a transfer deal with Manchester City and a move to the lucrative Premier League, several German media reported on Monday, May 9th. Haaland is among the hottest transfer prospects this summer, with the Norwegian 21-year-old having scored 61 goals in 66 league games for the Ruhr Valley club since joining them in early 2020. Several top clubs, including Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain and City, among others, have been linked with the player at times. Sky Germany reported on Monday the player had informed the club of his wish to leave and that Manchester City had contacted the club over the player's release clause. Several other media, including Bild newspaper and Kicker magazine, citing unnamed sources, also said a deal could be finalized in the coming days. And that's all the sports news we have for you for now. Join us next time. My name is Mikhail Tinubu. Have a good night.
And the main news again. Academic Staff Union of Universities extends warning strike by 3 months. President Buhari urges World Bank, African Development Bank to support One Planet Summit initiative for land restoration. And Sri Lanka's Prime Minister resigns amid mass protests. And that's news now. For more stories, please follow us on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. I'm Loretta Achiogo. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of the night. Good night.